Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is GFan84, also known as TJ, and today we are going to talk about Kong Skull Island, the second movie in the Monsterverse. And with me today, I'll start with Mongo's Big Thinks.
Hey there, guys. It's me, Mongo's Big Thinks, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
And also we have Orange Hat Reviews.
Hey, doing all you guys out there and gals out there and everything in between. Good to see you.
And we also have Fade Salvation.
Hello, everybody.
Fade in.
Yep, fading in.
Totally,
Fading in.
total missed opportunity, man. You should
Ah,
Uh,
it's all right.
Is it? Yeah.
yeah.
Alrighty, guys. So today, Geeky Pixie might be joining us a bit later. If not, that's okay. Not a big
She
deal.
just messaged me, so yeah, she'll be a little bit.
That's fine. Not a big deal. But so today we're talking about Kong Skull Island, the second movie in the Monsterverse. I think this movie was actually very well done. But that being said, real quick, I want to go through with you guys. What did you guys think of this movie overall? Mongo?
We were talking a little bit, just a little. We touched a bit on this before we went live, but TJ was saying that objectively, this is probably one of the best monster movies in the Monsterverse, and I think that's a correct statement. I think that's something that can easily be supported. It's got pretty much everything you'd want in a monster action movie.
Right? Orange?
Yeah, I totally agree. This movie actually was the highest earner.
Mm.
Also,
Yes.
they did a 3D 360-degree marketing campaign on Facebook for this movie, which was pretty cool. The Choppers versus Kong scene. And I gotta say, that was also a pretty cool thing to see. It's like, holy crap, this is very interactive. And honestly, I thought that this was objectively the best of the movies because one, it does daylight CGI.
Yes.
Actually pretty darn good. And
Yeah.
two, it was the highest grossing of the monster film or of the
Yep.
Monsterverse films. And three, Brie Larson actually wasn't half that bad because
Yep.
her activism that she loves to put in her movies nowadays
Wasn't
actually
there.
it was.
No,
It was in a more fitting.
it was a more subtle way.
True.
Because back during the 70s, the whole women's thing was, 72, I believe this movie takes place. So yeah, it's like, yeah, she can understand, or as long as she wasn't playing Hanoi Jane, yeah.
Okay, Fade Salvation. What you think?
Well, I did like it, and I do think it's one of the better monster movies. To me, my favorite's, King of the Monsters, but this is like a second runner-up to that, if anything. And then Godzilla third. Because there's a lot more monsters, or at least a lot more you could see of the monsters in this one compared to the Godzilla. But
Hello, Thomas.
Thomas.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah,
Hello.
it was a very good film.
Mm-hmm.
First Kong film I watched. Oh, wow.
wow.
Apart from King Kong.
Oh, okay.
Peter Jackson. Oh, I was going to say, wow.
Another excellent
Peter
movie.
Jackson.
Yeah, that one's another good one.
Especially the extended edition. That's like 4 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh, I haven't seen
Yeah.
the extended edition of that yet.
It's good.
It's good. It's very good.
I have it on my
check
movies.
that out.
Now, I'm going to go through a brief history of Kong himself. The original Kong came out in 1933, right at the Great Depression there. During its initial run, believe it or not, it didn't make that much money at all. Well, hence the Great Depression. but it was actually re-released in the 50s, and that's when it actually became even more popular, and it actually made more money than it did in its initial release. Um, and Kong actually directly inspired Godzilla later on when Tomoyuki Tanaka, Ishiro Honda, E.G. Tsuburaya, and Akira Ifukube were like planning all this out. Kong was a major inspiration. Actually, E.G. Tsuburaya really did want to try to do stop motion, but just didn't have the time to do it, and really nobody was really able to do it in Japan at the time. Kong would later, after that, it would be Son of Kong, which was essentially a quickie sequel, which didn't do very well at all. Next came Mighty Joe Young, which wasn't really a Kong movie, but it still had a giant ape, and that movie just failed miserably. The original Mighty Joe Young. I'm not talking about the remake with Bill Paxton and Charlize Theron. And it was actually during this time that Willis O'Brien, the Kong's creator, really fell on hard times, and his last pitch for Godzilla, I mean, for his last pitch was for Kong versus Frankenstein. Hail, Jeremy 5, Russia approved. Hey, theme park casual.
Hello.
But so he went to a man named John Beck. John Beck took the idea of Kong versus Frankenstein and he sold it to Toho, and then came King Kong versus Godzilla. Willis O'Brien was supposedly heartbroken over this, and he actually died not very long afterwards. And many of his contemporaries and people that worked under him for the longest time really resented Godzilla movies ever since. Toho would later still have the rights to Kong for King Kong Escapes, and it was done by Rankin and Bass. Rankin and Bass, for those who don't know, are the ones who made all the Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman, Santa's Claus is Coming to Town. That's what they're most known for.
All
And
the
so they
great
actually...
stop motion. Yep. Or all the great stop motions.
Yep, all the great stop motion. And yeah, and so it was a partnership between that production company and Toho for King Kong Escapes. And then you had the remake by what's his last name? Hold on. I can never pronounce his last name right.
Hold on.
Wait, I'm bringing it up here now. Let's see here.
De Laurenti. Do you know De Laurenti?
Yeah, De Laurenti. Yeah.
Yeah, De Laurenti.
Yeah. So Kong 1976 came out after Kong, and then after that was King Kong Lives, which actually, it's funny. I actually saw King Kong Lives before I saw the King Kong 1976.
Huh.
So because King Kong Lives was always on TV for some reason, and that one had Linda Hamilton from Terminator. And believe it or not, you see her breast for like 2 frames.
Yeah, it's like literally just snap there.
Yeah,
that is actually one of my favorite Kong films, King Kong Lives.
Oh yeah, that one actually tugs at the heartstrings there at the end.
It really does. Yep.
Yeah, it really does. And then after King Kong Lives, obviously no one really talks about King Kong afterwards for a very long time. Then Peter Jackson, fresh off of Lord of the Rings, wants to do this remake of the original Kong. And that one, wow, that one was just a spectacle. It was very well done. And I could probably talk hours and hours about just that movie too, and how well that was. If you guys don't ever get a chance, watch the extended edition, which is almost 4 hours long. And also that movie also starred Kyle Chandler, who would later come to play in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And he's going to be in Godzilla vs. Kong. So he essentially gets to be in both franchises. All right, so moving on. Now we move on to Kong Skull Island. Now, when this movie was first conceived, they actually had a Comic-Con uh, panel for it, and it was just very brief image of Kong on a stormy island, and he roars with lightning and thunder in the background, and once and that would be Kong Skull Island. That's how they announced it, but they didn't announce that it was going to be put part of the Monsterverse until a bit later during the development, when they finally, confirmed what a lot of people were thinking, since it was produced by Legendary and distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. So now we get into Kong Skull Island itself. So this movie begins actually during World War II. You see the sun, and you see a pilot literally falling out of the sky. Very, very reminiscent of the story of Icarus, which actually is talked about later on in the film. And he crashes, he parachutes down, and then he sees another plane. It's a Japanese plane, also crashing down, and then the Japanese pilot comes out. And so these two chase after each other through Skull Island. They're all trying to beat the crap out of each other. He has a Japanese soldier has a sword, and what we see is like these two trying to fight each other off. The Japanese person, the Japanese soldier, he has the American soldier on the ground, and he's ready to plunge the knife into him. And then you see this big hand come up on one side of them, and then another big hand on the other side of them. And then you see Kong's skull right there, and right then there, cuts to credits, and you realize they're on an island that is not very friendly to humans. And Kong does not like fighting on his island because it can wake up the skull crawlers.
Right.
We then get a montage of what's been happening in the world since World War II. And what's kind of interesting is at this time frame that this is true, this is when satellites and satellite imaging really started to blast off. And so that's how this is worked into the film. And it's worked into the film pretty well, in my opinion, very well done. And one of the other things too that I find hilarious, especially now, is then we get introduced to John Goodman's character, and John Goodman's in Washington D.C. and he says, "Mark my words, there will never be a more termonious time."
Yeah.
His name's Bill Randa, and well, if continuing in the Monsterverse, you know that Ghidorah and Rodan really make a mess of Washington D.C. later on, but and in real world, looking back, well, yeah,
There's been some pretty hefty stuff.
yeah. Let's just say there's a lot of political intrigue. Mind you, this is the 70s. It's taking place. It's around 1972, so this is like towards the end of the Vietnam War here.
No, this is the end of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Vietnam War didn't officially end until 1975.
Yeah, but we were starting our pullouts by 72.
True. Yeah, true. I mean, but the last part is 1975. But
Yeah.
as we
Mind you,
as we know,
we weren't
what?
I said, mind you, we weren't losing at all. As a certain character says.
Oh,
well,
yeah. Well, we'll get into that character later. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't lose it. We abandoned it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You lost it.
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much, and
in more than one meaning.
yeah, and coming from the Rambo streams, it's kind of goes into a lot more intrigue later on, but right now they're trying him and Brooks. Brooks is pretty much like a grad student kind of
At the
person.
time,
Mm.
Yeah,
He is
they don't
like,
call him Doctor Brooks yet, do they?
I
In
don't think
this,
so. He was more of like a thesis student still, if anything. If I
because I
remember
know
pretty
in
right.
the
sure.
in King of the Monsters he is Doctor Brooks. So it's because according to IMDb, it's not there's no doctor yet. I think he
Right.
is like a grad student.
Yeah, I think he is too because
Yeah, and so he's played by Corey Hawkins, and him and John Goodman's character Randa are meeting with a senator. Um,
I really do like that scene.
yeah,
same here.
and they're trying to convince them not to shut Monarch down.
Yeah.
Mind you, the government's tied with all this other stuff. So, of course, trying to chase after legendary creatures is not something that they're really looking to invest in at this moment. So, they're
Right.
really trying to convince, the senator to try to give them a budget, try to say, "Hey, look, there's this island and there's a bunch of stuff going on." And the only thing that really gets the senator to agree to this is Brooks argues if we don't do something, then who the Soviets might, and
Yep.
Yep.
that's all. It's always the Red Scare right at this point.
Mhm.
So that right there convinces him. Okay, I'll give you this one last time
Yeah.
to prove this, because mind you, they even talk about the nuclear tests in the 50s. They were trying to kill something, which was Godzilla, and as we know, didn't work. But mind you, none of these,
You had a cat. You had a
yes,
cat,
my
Dale.
cat. I apologize. My cat keeps putting his tail into the camera. I don't know
Giant
why.
cat.
Like Shin Godzilla, where the tail comes out of the
Yeah, I
ocean.
know, right? Great
Yeah,
Monsterverse moment.
yeah, we're
Draw like a
Yeah.
little face on there or something next
Yeah.
to
yeah.
Right.
Oh, geez. Yeah, my apologies about my cat.
Mhm.
It's good. It's
It's
good.
fine.
But as we know, Godzilla hasn't been seen since 1954 in this timeline. So with all that, they think that he may never show, and this is all just a waste of government taxpayer money. So this is when they start recruiting everyone. So then we get to Vietnam, and we get to meet Samuel L. Jackson's character and his helicopter team. And that's Samuel L. Jackson plays Preston Packard, and
Yep.
he is in charge of uh, the helicopter team. Now, mind you, they're all kind of excited because they're about ready to go home. It's as you were saying, Orange, the pullout's starting to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're shipping out.
But Samuel L. Jackson's character is not very happy about it. For him, and you can see it, and being in the military, I can understand his point of view. So that means if we're pulling out, that means then all my soldiers that I fought with, bled with, and died with, and have died in battle, their deaths mean nothing. So you can tell, he's not really looking forward to going back to a civilian life, acting like nothing ever happened.
Well, I got a different take on that. I figured it wasn't because of the fighting with his army friends and all that. I kind of figured he wasn't really looking forward to going back to civil life, considering all the achievements he's made in the military and what
yeah.
he had
It's a
to
slight
show
mix
for
of-
it, besides medals.
Yeah. It's a slight mix of both in this case because Packard basically he felt that those who he led and fought and bled and died with, he felt that they were being dishonored.
Yes.
He like he says to Brie Larson's character later on, we didn't lose the war, we abandoned it.
Right.
He was fully against leaving the war behind. And basically he was one, or he is the perfect example of one of those soldiers that just couldn't stop.
Yep.
He's not meant for civilian life. This is one
Nope.
who,
Mhm.
as he started going off the rails even before
Yeah.
he entered
Mhm.
Skull Island.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to the senator thing for 1 second,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I gotta touch on some of this stuff because the receptionist is like, yeah, we called you like 5 times
Yeah, I remember
to
that.
reschedule. Yeah, I must have missed it. And then he's like, yeah, Monarch has been shut, or we're shutting Monarch down because they're right up there with those alien or unicorns and aliens. Yeah, but those guys are nuts. We soon learn later that they're not so nuts.
No, not
But,
so nuts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ghidorah. But anyway,
Yeah. I'm just waiting
Um,
for the unicorn, though.
yeah. And then the way that Brooks sells it, he's like, "You need us. You want us to be there because the Russians are going to be flying their satellites over there. They're going to see these same images, and well, who knows what we're going to find? But you want us to be there." I can't believe I'm saying this, but that kind of almost made sense.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's, oh my god, it was just so great. Yeah, but those
Yeah.
guys are nuts. I mean, John Goodman is
Goodman.
a great actor in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was actually, before this, he was in that 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
And that was another great performance of his.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of foreshadowing too earlier in his career. If you watch the show Roseanne, there's the Godzilla figure in the background of
right.
there.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of foreshadowing in his career there.
Yep. Also,
You know,
also, the ship that was, or one of the ships that was in the first movie's beginning sequence, in Godzilla 2014's beginning sequence, that was shown to be wrecked,
yep,
was the ship, or was the Lawton that he was on.
yep, yeah.
And that
Because
is
he
why
talks
he
about
that is why he absolutely hates the monsters, but he also wants to find them. He
Yep.
was he's what I call a negative monarch, meaning
Yep.
he wants to eradicate. He doesn't want to preserve.
right, but he needs proof,
Yes,
and
Right.
he needs the
that's
proof.
the big thing.
Mhm.
And that's a big thing. He needs the proof that they still exist and that they need to be wiped off the face of the earth.
Yep.
And from his experience, I don't really blame him because
Right.
he was
Checking
pretty
back
much the
page
only
just in
survivor.
case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
making sure.
Yep. And and then also we get introduced to Chapman with Samuel L. Jackson's character played by Toby Kebbell, and he also plays Kong. He also does the motion capture for Kong. And Chapman, as we know later on, he gets separated from everybody else.
Yep.
But it's kind of funny they played Kong, too.
Yeah,
So
Kong versus
he
Kong.
Yep, pretty much. All right, so then we get the scene after scene in Vietnam. Packard gets a call on the telephone back when they had phone booths, and pretty much says about this mission, and he was not against going on a mission, even if it was just some mundane, essentially scouting mission, And then we get the scene where we introduce Tom Hiddleston's character, James Conrad. And he is an expert tracker. Yep. He's an expert.
Quick question. Now, how do
Yeah.
you guys feel about his character, just like in general in this movie? For me, I kind of go like he kind of is that good spot where he's not annoying. He's got some confidence. He's got a good confidence about him, and he has the skills to back it up. So I enjoy his character. But how do you guys feel about Tom Hiddleston in this movie in general? I guess
He's old
I liked
school
his
SAS.
performance in this.
Yeah.
He's old school SAS, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Total, or first-rate soldier, but a total egomaniac, except that he actually kept a good lid on it.
Yeah.
And that scene basically shows it very well, where they're getting ready to hustle him after he beat him at pool, and he just turned it all around on those guys.
Yep.
Mm.
And then I just love that discussion. He's like, an uncharted island. Let me list off all the ways that you're going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
The malaria, but you got meds for that. Not to mention all the different bugs and whatnot. Plus, whatever is there that I'm not seeing. And he's like, we'll double it. No.
Mm-mm.
You don't get it. I want 5 times that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, he ain't going to say triple.
Yeah.
And I just love that in this movie, Nick Fury, Loki, and Captain Marvel are all in the same movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm guessing that's how she got the endorsement to be, or the attempted Captain Marvel.
I'm pretty sure that's how it happened.
Yeah.
Because
that explains
during filming, I know this. Like I said, her interviews later on in the side, almost all her cast members loved her. So, interviews aside, and what she would say later on, she generally was a good person.
She has the skill. She just got too much into the activism part of it, and that's what turned it off, because she became she became like a fourth wave feminazi.
Pretty much.
But the thing is, she actually showed emotion in this movie.
Yeah.
She actually was.
To me, go ahead, Orange.
She actually, you got to see her smile and whatnot, and it's like, you know what? When she smiles, when she actually smiles, she actually looks appealing. When she's not smiling, or when she's got that resting bitch face, it's just, no, I'm not feeling that. It's like, you emote, woman. You're not a blocker woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, to me, I mean, she does do good on a movie. On some of the scenes that I found it kind of was like lacklustered a little bit on them.
Yeah.
But
I know for me. Oh yeah, continue.
Okay, but I mean, besides on some of those scenes, I do think she did a pretty good job on this movie, without a doubt. But
yeah, very much so.
I mean,
and that actually introduces us to Brie Larson, Mason Weaver. She's a journalist and photographer, and she is, in her photography room, and she's pretty much saying, from her sources, if everyone's saying the same exact thing, something's going on. So this is where she gets to be able to be booked, literally be part of the exploration team to do photographs and categorization. And fun fact, the camera she uses was a real camera and really did have film in it. Yep. And because they in the special features, they actually showed like what all she took pictures of and stuff like that, and it really looks like the photos you would see back in the 70s. So very nice attention to detail in this movie, and actually using real props, real objects to represent the time frame.
I just figured it out.
What?
I now know why she doesn't emote in her later movies. It's because she spent too much time with the Iwi.
Well, yeah. That's one theory.
Notice how she barely emotes after being with them.
Yeah.
The only time she does emote was when she put her hand on Kong.
Yeah.
Yep.
So right after meeting these wooden people and these emotionless people, she's become the resting bitch. It was the birth of resting bitch face for. Oh my god! I can't believe I haven't figured
My
this out. until
God,
now.
he's figured out the formula.
I just discovered the formula, sir. We will win this war for Germany.
Hey, Geeky.
Oh,
Hey,
Oh,
Geeky,
yeah.
how's it going?
Good.
That's good. So what's new?
Not much. I finally got a Switch a couple days ago.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh,
good.
you're gonna enjoy that.
I got the Mario Switch version.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's a sorry out version. Good for you on that.
But
And I just beat the game that I bought with it.
Oh, nice.
hey,
Oh,
Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
oh yeah,
oh,
you were
cool.
telling me about that already. Cool.
Nice.
yeah. But to get you up to speed, we're still in the introduction process for the movie where all the characters are getting introduced, and you get to where we just got over Brie Larson's character. Well,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just basically discovered
Yeah,
the formula of why she's never emoting after a certain part of the film. I mean, it's hilarious. It really is. If you think about it, she stops emoting after she meets the Iwi.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm willing to
Mhm.
bet that they had to drag her back, and she was like, "No, I want to stay with them. They're my people." And I'm like, "No," and that's why she's so cranky in the post credit scene. I promise I won't tell the Russians. I will tell the Russians.
Yeah.
Really? You want to go back there that badly? Fine, send her back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had to. I
Yeah.
had to.
No worries.
I knew this was going to lead into a Brie Larson conversation. This movie, I was prepared for it.
She is a part of it. So
Yep,
yeah.
I was very prepared for it.
She is the
But-
favorite in this one.
Well, not really. Not really.
Except
Let
that
me
she
just
was
say, I'm
free,
glad there's
yeah.
no romantic kind of relationship between giant 100-foot Kong and tiny Lego-sized
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Well, not Lego-sized, but I'm
Dude,
like,
are you trying
I'm
to
very
unsettle my
glad that
stomach? I
that
just
did not
ate.
occur in
I-
this.
Well,
movie.
if you ever play the God of War series, you see Kronos, and then you see,
Kronos and Kratos.
yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Kratos.
that
Yeah.
game. I love God of War 3.
It's like,
Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude.
More something.
Oh yeah. No, you're talking about the OG God of War with Kronos.
yeah, with Kronos,
Yeah.
with the cutscene with Kronos,
Yeah.
and
It's
how he's
like,
going to swallow the
dude.
stone, and it's
Yeah,
like, wait,
How
Oh,
did
that
she,
was-
or how did it fit?
yeah, very
Sorry,
much so.
folks, but here at GFan 84, we talk about these things to make you uncomfortable on purpose.
Oh, hey, well, I
Not
did a
really.
whole stream. We did whole streams about Greek mythology, and right
Oh my
there,
God,
that's like R-rated, if not X-rated. Yeah, when you
that's
really
NC
talk into it.
17 rated. I mean,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
When
Pretty
it
much.
comes to that,
AO 18 content only, basically.
Yeah. pretty much. But getting back into it, now we're on. Brie Larson gets on the ship. She has that conversation with Samuel L. Jackson's character Packard, and he's pretty much talking about have she he's kind of blaming journalism for losing the war,
Yep.
and essentially arguing that picture's worth 1,000 words. So
Yeah, especially
it's
in that case.
yeah, especially in that case. And you can see there's already tension between the two because he blames the journalist for causing pretty much the American people to turn against the him and his men. So
The U.S. military.
Mhm.
yep. All right, and then we get onto the ship, and we get a bit of conversation between Tom Hiddleston's James Conrad and Brie Larson's Mason Weaver. Really just really setting up, kind of like conversations in general. I didn't really feel that was needed in that movie. But I can see there needs to be some downtime. And then we get into the conference room on the ship. And that's when they start telling everybody what they're really there for. Essentially, what they're doing is they're using these seismic charges, essentially bombs, to map the layers on the island, the inner layers, geographically speaking. And that's when Tom Hiddleston's character, Conrad, says, "So you're dropping bombs?" And Houston's like, "No, scientific instruments." I like how he says that.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like it was like saying, like, no, I'm the smart guy here. It's scientific instruments. Like, no, it's you're dropping bombs essentially.
So scientific instruments that happen to be bombs.
Exactly.
Am I right? Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You're dropping
Because
bombs.
they do sonar detection or something like that, if I remember right.
Yep. Brooks is the one with the hollow Earth theory.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he explains that a bit later in the movie. But now they're coming up to the island, and the island itself, they realize that, they show is surrounded by a perpetual storm. Huh?
Don't forget, Samuel L. Jackson does a little Easter egg to Jurassic Park on the "Hold On to Your Butts."
Oh yeah, hold on to your butts.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of funny because I guess it's kind of funny because I guess the director said that he threw that in there and he didn't think he would actually say it again, and he ended up saying it again. He loved it.
Hold on to your butts.
Yep. All right, so they're trying to figure out if they should abort or not because of the perpetual storm that's surrounding the island. But essentially, they decide to go with it. Packard said, "No, we can get through it." Essentially, he knows that
John Goodman and what's his name? Or what's the guy that played the bad guy in Fast and Furious 4?
John Ortiz.
Yeah, Ortiz. He's like,
Ortiz.
Nothing is going to get me on that chopper. And then you see his ass on that chopper.
Yeah.
It's like,
Such a cliche moment, but
guy,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It just took one look from Mr. Motherfucker to give it to you, or to put you on that chopper.
Yeah.
Pardon the language, but yeah, we all know
Yep.
that.
I would have voted to stay on the boat.
Yeah.
Well,
So
did you see that storm?
yeah. But now we're starting to get into more of the CGI here. When the helicopters lift off and you see the background, that great orange-looking background against, and then you see the storm to the right there. It's a great shot. John, the director, John Voight Roberts, actually went on kind of a rant. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Honest Trailers.
Oh yeah.
He went on a rant because they were doing the Honest Trailers, and he got the guest star on it. And he was talking about the helicopters because everyone's like, "How many helicopters do they have on that ship?" And he's like, "It's filled with helicopters. Helicopters over here, helicopters over there. It's all made of helicopters." I mean, because everyone was like, because if you look at the one shot, there looks like there's only like 5 or so helicopters actually taking off, and then when you get to the battle with Kong later on, it looks like there's like 10 of them. It's kind of like a mundane point, but
Terry Notary, sorry to interrupt, but Terry Notary actually did Kong, not Tony Kebbell. According to
Toby Kebbell, it said he motion captured for Kong too.
He probably did pickups or something like that, but
he did. I know he did the scene where Kong's eating, because they actually had that on the special features.
Shea Wingham, the guy that plays Cole, which is part of Samuel L. Jackson's unit. Oh my God, he's always coming up with the quip or the funny little quips and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
he's a great actor too.
Yeah, Shea. A lot of people don't realize this. I think Shea, or I can't remember where he got his start, but the first movie I saw him in was Machete.
Oh, well, no,
Man.
I know where he got his start. It was a movie called
Dragon
Tigerland.
phone call.
Nice.
Oh, it's fine.
Hmm.
It's a movie called Tigerland. And that movie was excellent. It was about basic training during the Vietnam War,
Oh,
and it was a great movie. And that's where I first saw him, and I think that's where he first got his start into bigger movies.
yeah.
It was a great movie. And go figure, another Vietnam movie
Yep.
about Vietnam. But yeah, his quirks about the lion, the mouse, and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
we're gonna get into that, man.
Yeah,
Or when he has some legendary epic lines, I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm sorry, but those need to
I'm
be
sure.
talked about.
It's fine. It's fine. It's great moments like that. Well, so they're flying through the storm, and Samuel L. Jackson is actually talking literally about the story of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun, and his wings melted. The glue holding the feathers together melted, and he fell into the ocean, into the sea, essentially. And again, that was a good callback to like the very first scene you see in the movie, where you see Marlowe's character falling from the sky.
Yep.
So it has that same aesthetic to it. So you have all this lightning, you have all this turbulence, and then finally they get past the storm, and it's like this fresh breath of fresh air, and like you see the beautiful landscape. And this was actually shot in Vietnam.
Yep.
And so like you see the beautiful landscape from like the helicopter's view, going through the canyons and through over the forests, and it's great shots throughout this entire sequence. Then you get to the part where they're ready to essentially, drop the instruments. So part of the team goes down to the ground.
Scientific instruments. Don't forget
Yeah,
that.
scientific. Yeah, bombs. They're bombs. Both. They're both. But one team lands to get all their computers set up, and then they're playing "Paranoid" by Black Sabbath. Great song too. And you get this nice slow motion scene where you see the helicopter blades just all in sync. It's just a great scene, and it's very well done. And then you start to see them dropping these scientific instruments. There's all these explosions. You see the wildlife, literally being obliterated, and it has a very good callback to Apocalypse Now. If anybody's ever seen that movie,
Are you about to reference the zoom in on the sunglasses?
yes.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like the zoom in on the sunglasses and that dude's shit-eating grin. It's like that seems familiar. I've never seen Apocalypse Now, but it's like it just looks like something that would be in a movie like this. Because you know that this dude is just enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah. Apocalypse Now was a big influence for this movie, especially the lighting. The lighting is very similar in this movie as it was in Apocalypse Now. As they're dropping these scientific instruments, the computers are getting feedback, and they're saying that the bedrock is practically hollow. So that the whole Earth theory that he has is correct.
It was proved.
And then as this happening, all of a sudden this giant tree goes through a helicopter, knocking it down. And then like it goes into slow motion. Everyone's there's like all this calm chatter about what's going on. And then you see the giant silhouette of a
not yet.
Bipedal ape.
Not yet.
You see the hand.
Kong's hand grab.
Oh yeah, you see the hand.
And then you see the guys falling out, but you see one guy holding on until he falls into Kong's mouth, or doesn't show him.
The sandwich.
Yeah.
So here's a sandwich.
Yeah. And then everybody's like, "Is that a monkey?" And then you see the rise of Kong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, bitch.
I love the camera panning through the different helicopters in that
Yeah.
almost the 360
Yeah.
move,
Yeah.
and that was
That was
just
nice.
beautifully shot. And it shows like each one like staging panic or getting ready for the battle stations, and you know Packard's like fire, and Kong roars, and then
Kill this thing.
yeah
Yes. I
Or
love when he
kill this
says
son
that.
of a bitch.
Kill this son of a bitch.
Yep.
yeah, and they're
Dude.
all shooting at Kong, and it's just mayhem. I mean, he is just
Yeah.
taking them out.
Mhm.
This is not the Kong from 1976 where he gets shot down by helicopters very easily and on the Twin
Yeah.
Towers.
Mm.
This is the what I call a kaiju Kong. This is like they're not normal. Like
It's the Titan.
yeah,
Something
these
that-
things.
Something
Go
that I
ahead.
like about this there's that scene where you have a helicopter flying away and then Kong grabs the tail of it. You can
Yeah.
see that his
Mhm.
hand does get cut by the blades on the tail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
It's
love
like,
the
where you
attention
going?
to detail
Mhm.
on this thing.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah,
like,
this,
what the hell? It's-
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Then he lets
Oh,
go like, ow, like
so
what the
good.
hell?
Yeah. It was
And
the
then he like grabs the sides and of the chopper instead.
he's
Yeah.
basically, or it shows that his intelligence level is like, well, I ain't, all right, can't grab it from there, but yeah.
Yeah.
But the
I can grab it from the
brutality,
sides. Yeah,
the brutality that he shows in this scene, and
Mm.
the
Yeah.
PTSD of Samuel L. Jackson.
oh
Mm.
yeah,
It's
Mhm.
like, oh my god,
yeah.
dude.
Samuel L. Jackson's plane crashes, and he's trying to get the pilot out, and Kong just takes it and just flings it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
it's
guy
like, wow.
who's locked in there gets flung
Yeah,
out. too.
falls out.
Mhm.
I mean, and and I like the one scene where the guys are on the ground. And they're running away from Kong. He's like, "Go left, stupid!" And he gets crushed. But then Kong just looks over and he just swats the ground and just
Yep.
makes
Mhm.
the other guy go flying too, even though he got out of the way. It's like, yeah, Kong is extremely intelligent, but he's also extremely, extremely brutal in this scene. Like,
Mhm.
this is probably the most kick-ass scene with Kong I've ever saw. Like how well, I mean, just how he
Oh,
just, yeah. Hey, oh,
in the
Yeah,
chat.
soul is
yeah.
Mhm.
Don't mind me. I'm just blowing up your home for science.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For science. For
Yeah,
science.
I like-
Ooh, science.
I like your Speedy Gonzalez.
Meeting
Yeah.
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because they tried canceling him.
Yeah.
Oh, did they
Mhm.
cancel Pepe Le Pew?
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they're
did.
trying
He is
Yeah.
no longer.
for God's sakes.
working
But
for
one of the
any other
things,
production.
yes, one of the best shots of this movie
Mm.
was where Samuel L. Jackson is looking up at Kong while people
Oh,
on fire
yeah.
are running past him.
Yes.
Yeah, and the guy's
And then-
like in flames running too.
Yep, and then you see
Yeah.
Kong rip apart one of the choppers and then just smash it down and looks at, and they
Well,
lock
like
eyes.
looking through and
Yes.
tearing it apart too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
going
and
like,
then they look,
Yeah.
and Kong sees him staring daggers at him. He's like,
mm,
"Who the fuck do you think you are, man? You're nothing to
What?
me."
Well, that's a big thing too. Do you know, like with apes, you don't want to look them in the eye. That's a challenge.
Yeah,
Mm.
So that right there, they're challenging each other.
yep.
mm,
Right there.
Andy Serkis learned that.
Yep. And it just, yeah, like I said, it's mayhem. All their troops are scattered. Randall's plane, not Randall. Randall. Does he? Randa. I keep saying Randall. I don't know why. But yeah,
Think
his
Rhonda, but pronounce it ah instead of ah. Help me, Randa. Help me, Randa.
yeah, Randa. So, they're now trying to, reestablish contact with each other because they're spread out miles and miles away. And so now they all have to trek on foot with Tom Hiddleston's character,
With Brie Larson.
with Brie Larson, and who's the younger pilot? Blonde-haired kid.
oh, the one with the bandana.
Yeah.
Here,
Trying
Marlo.
to see which one he. Huh?
Do you
Marlowe.
want the actor's name?
Marlowe.
Or Slivko.
Yeah, Slivko.
Slivko.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. With Slivko. So now we have those guys in the group, and also Brooks, and I forgot to mention the other Monarch personnel, Sand, played by Ten Jin. And for that,
Yeah. I got the cast list all the way here. So,
yeah, Ten Jin
or
Jian.
Jian Tan or Jian Tian. Yeah.
Yeah. Now she was also in that movie, The Great Wall.
Oh,
With the-
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was on-
She was. Yep.
Nice.
With,
Yeah, she was also in that
Damon-
movie
Wow.
because she was the main chick in that one.
Yeah.
So,
Mills
Some-
and Cole were also separated, and
yeah.
sorry, this is one of the funny lines I told you about. He's like,
Yeah.
or Mills is freaking out. He's like, "There's no, I gotta talk about this. We just got our ass kicked by a giant ape or a monkey." He's like, and Cole's eating a freaking ration.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cole,
Or,
are you eating right now? I'm hungry. Did you not
Yeah.
just see what happened? Yeah, that was a pretty unconventional
Or-
encounter.
actually, what about that whole, like, eating's for the living?
Yep, eating's for the living. And he's like, it was an unprecedented encounter, or it was an unconventional encounter. We did the best we could, given the
Yeah.
circumstances. We got our ass kicked by a monkey.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an unconventional encounter. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, that is just pure freaking shame, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's like zero fucks given. It's
Yeah.
like, yep. Oh,
It's
you know,
like,
oh
what
well.
do you expect me to do about it? I mean,
Dude, I'm not gonna freak out just because you're freaking out. I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't got the Gulf War
That's-
syndrome.
Yeah.
Or I
Pretty
don't got
much.
shell shock right now. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying life.
I'm enjoying being alive.
Exactly. And then, now this is the part where we go with, if I remember right after that scene, this is where we get the part with Randa and Packard. So
Yep.
Packard essentially, Rando's sitting down. He asks, Packard says, "Are you all right?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm all right." And then Packard pulls out his sidearm
Yep. His
and
9/11.
pretty much,
His 1911.
yep, 1911, and pretty much he demands an explanation. So this is where Randa gets the backstory about,
Monsters exist.
monsters exist.
Yep.
And then he asks, and he talks about his past and how, he was on a ship and the public didn't know about it.
Yep.
And he essentially said, it had no conscience. It only wanted to destroy.
It's only.
Yeah.
It's like, you ever hear of the USS Lawton? That's all right. Neither does the public. We came across something, Colonel, and it had no conscience. Its only thought was kill, or was destruction.
Yeah.
No,
And-
that one where it shows Godzilla destroying that ship, or was
It's implied that Godzilla was the destroyer of that ship
Yeah.
because the
Oh, okay.
Lawton was the first above water ship he came across.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's when Packard asked, are there more? You're telling me there's more of these things out there? And that's when,
And Colonel, truly I am.
yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
But this world never belonged to us. It belongs to them. And if we want to keep it, if we want to keep our place in this world, we better get rid of them. Otherwise, they're going to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yep. And that's when he's like, bring us back with proof so we can send the cavalry. And that's when Packard said, "I am the cavalry."
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like,
It's like,
we
no,
are
I'm
well
I'm
and
going to.
truly flipped.
It's like, I'm going to destroy these things. At this point, Packard is now dead set on destroying Kong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, killing Kong, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then we go back to Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, and oh,
Slivko.
Ripco
Slivko.
and Lifco,
Slivko.
Slivko. Okay,
Slivko.
Slivko,
Slivko.
and they're
With a
walking
B.
past this. Yeah, they're walking past this like pond or lake, and you see like these little nudges sticking up, and then all of a sudden comes out this giant, essentially like
Water buffalo.
antlered water buffalo with antlers.
Mhm.
And immediately, you know, they have gun. He has gun drawn, and then Conrad's like, wait. Then he has him lower the rifle at that point,
Mm.
and you can tell those creatures are more of the docile creatures that you see there, and
Mm.
essentially they're the prey animal. Essentially,
Or the
from
ones-
if
Probably.
It's one that Kong protects.
yeah, exactly. But it is a prey animal, considering how large the other things get.
Hmm.
And that's when, memory serves me correct. That's when, after that, isn't after that? That's when we get go back to Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman
Hmm.
is doing his Dear Bobby. And
Yeah.
he does get into radio contact with Packard.
Actually, wait, isn't that the scene where Kong's taking a bath or something during that, or is that after?
Well, there's the Meyer squid calm.
Yeah.
It was the Meyer
And Meyer
squid where
squid. Yeah.
he actually
Hmm.
does or where he's trying to get some water. Then he sees
Yeah.
Kong and he thinks that Kong sees him and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But it's just
It's
another
actually the-
little kaiju battle.
Yeah. The Meyer squid, which is good homage to the giant octopus from King Kong versus Godzilla.
Hmm.
And so it was
I
a
love
little
that he
homage
ate
there.
it.
Yeah, he
I
ate
love
it.
that he
Yeah,
ate
he's
it.
like
Just
eating
like-
it, and the
just like
tentacles
on
all
King
wrapped
Kong
around his face or
Godzilla.
something.
Yeah.
The original weren't the original octopuses that were used there, weren't those eaten after the filming of that?
Two were freed, one was eaten.
One was eaten.
They had three of them. Two were freed, and then one was eaten by E.G. Subaraya, the special effects director. So, yeah, a bit of homage there. You know, he essentially ate his creation.
Mhm.
And originally, you know, E.G. Subaraya was going to depict Godzilla as a giant octopus. So,
Mm.
yeah, originally. Yeah. So, yeah. Kong, you know, ate, you know, the predecessor for Godzilla. And I like how he, like, even after he kills it and eats some of it, he drags it. Like, you can tell he's like, I'm
not
gonna
done
have
with you yet.
Yeah, it's like to go order here. You know,
Mm.
Have some calamari to go.
Yeah.
Yep. So then we get, if I remember right, then we get we're going to be introduced to the Iwis, and we'll be yes, Brie Larson's people and Hank Marlowe. So they're at this little ruins, and you know they're walking in, and then suddenly you see that like the Iwis that are protecting there are literally painted like how the ruins are. Yeah, the surrounding area, and they have them surrounded. And then all of a sudden, jumps out John C. Riley's character, Hank Marlowe, and he is the pilot that we saw at the very beginning. And he's all big, gruffle beard, and you know he can't believe and he's kind of eccentric, but you can see why. I mean,
Mhm.
with Iwi's not being able to talk, and
They're
then
pretty
his
hard
only
to
other friend was
control.
Japanese, who he had to learn Japanese with. So, yeah, essentially, he's a bit eccentric character, but you know he has some pretty good lines and that sort of thing. So I'm going to stop real quick. And so far, what we have seen, as far as the interactions with the cast, obviously we talked about Kong's big battle scene. You know, I feel this movie had the best pacing
Yeah,
It really did.
out of
it did.
all the other movies. It really was one of those movies where you had just enough downtime to understand some backstory, and then get right back into the thick of things. And like these characters, especially being on this hostile island, they're always in peril. So like there's always something. If it's not one thing, it's something else. If it's not this thing, it's something else. And so I really like this movie feels a lot more energetic. Like there's like essence of time that they you have to get off this island as quick as possible. And so there's this essence in the movie about like it's not rushed as like where it's just nothing but blinding action. There's still plenty of great character moments, but like this movie really, as far as I can see, had the best pacing. I think they kind of learned from Godzilla 2014, where if you slow too much, people lose interest. This movie had just the right amount of like scenes between for humans and scenes with Kong. So, what did you guys think?
Yeah, that part I'm kind of iffy on, but the rest of it I do kind of agree. I mean, you do get a better understanding on this movie than you did with Godzilla or King of the Monsters. So,
But
I find
yeah,
that
because
assessment agreeable.
Okay, I'm back.
oh, okay.
Got me some dinosaur chicken tenders.
Oh,
Oh,
ooh,
Nice.
Old school.
yeah.
Nice.
um, something that. Oh, okay, go on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, something I like. Just real briefly with the Iwi people. King Kong. He's always had this interesting setting, and the island is part of that setting. Original 1933, we had dinosaurs, we had peoples. It was more based off of more of the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, than with, of course, Peter Jackson's King Kong. It was more of that, Papua New Guinea, the tribalism and all that. And with King Kong Escapes, we have Mondo Island, and those people are very obviously, Solomon Island, just the attire and the dress. And I thought it was interesting that they went more with well, of course they filmed in Vietnam, but with the interesting shift that they did with the portrayal of the Iwi being a stoic society, being more living alongside nature, and just kind of looking at some of the things that kind of went to inspire this movie, just that Voight Roberts kind of talked about, some of the Ghibli films, the Miyazaki, like Princess Mononoke, kind of like being alongside nature and kind of knowing like, okay, we can be here, we live here, but we know like there's a boundary we don't want to cross, like with that big wall and all the spikes, the bloody spikes and all that.
Well, that was
Yeah,
to
just-
keep the lizard
yeah,
people
love
out
it.
of their village.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Lizard
Yeah.
people. You mean politicians?
Yeah, those creatures that killed Kong's parents.
Skull crawlers.
Skull crawlers.
Skull crawlers.
Which actually leads into a very good discussion
Yep.
because they're like, no, that's just Kong. He's king around here. And you don't come into a king's backyard and start dropping bombs unless you're looking for a fight.
Yep.
And it's like,
Mm.
he must have known because he probably heard about it, or he probably heard it over the horizon.
Mhm.
And I just love that. And then he shows them the skull crawlers. And he's like, what do they call them? Or what are they? He's like, we don't have a name for them. Or they don't speak its name. I call them skull crawlers. Why? He's like, why? Because it sounds cool. I just made it up.
You
Now
know
I
what?
feel
It
like an
sounds
idiot for saying it out
sounds
loud.
awful.
Yeah, it sounds awful when you say it out loud. John C. Riley's performance
Mm,
as Marlowe is just
Mhm.
freaking priceless, man.
Yeah.
mhm. Yep.
And it's like you really just know that this dude. I mean, I swear to God, he acts as if he was stuck on that island for like 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's the biggest benefit that I really like about this movie is all of the characters, the main characters at least, are do a good job and portray their parts very very well. Um, and actually during that scene when he's talking about the skull growers, that's when you actually get the while he's talking, you get like what's going on outside, and you see Kong start to fight the skull crawlers, and
Mhm.
it's he says about you know Kong was mad you were dropping bombs because you're going to wake them all up, and especially the big one.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
waking up the little ones. You don't
yeah,
want to wake the big one.
yeah, because Kong will kill them while they're small, but if they get big, then
Well,
you're going to have problems.
and also the big one was the one that killed Kong's parents too.
Yeah. Also, too, to note, and this is in the special features too, the skull crawlers are constant in a constant state of essentially starvation.
No.
Their metabolism is so high. That's why they're very fast. Is the fact that that's why they kind of look skinny. But it's really the fact that also this is why Kong is essentially the balance for Skull Island, because if more of them do come to the surface and more of them get to grow as big as what they can grow as, they'll just eat everything and anything, and it will just completely obliterate the ecosystem there. So Kong essentially is the balance of Skull Island, as Godzilla is the balance for pretty much everything else. Yeah. Yep. So I thought that was a good concept. Now, believe it or not, right before this movie came out, because when you saw the trailers and stuff like that, a lot of people actually thought that Godzilla had killed Kong's parents. And I remember that was like a big conversation that a lot of people had, because what could kill two Kongs, especially. But as we find out, though, Kong himself is actually just a juvenile.
The little one.
Yeah,
he's
young
a
adult.
juvenile.
Yeah.
He's king around here, and he's still growing.
Yep.
I love that. And it's like, and then they show the fight between the two juvenile skull crawlers and Kong.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa, dude, nice.
Yeah. And he like stomps right on top of one of them. It roars. It's just a great scene. Very visceral. Then okay. Now I'm trying to remember. Do we go back to Chapman for his death, or do we go back to
Chapman?
The spider?
Yeah, Chapman.
Is Chapman? All right.
Yep.
So Chapman, he puts a knife into the tree, and then he puts his gear on the knife. And he's sitting down on this log. All of a sudden, and there's a lot of radio interference on the radio as he's trying to get a hold of Packard. All of a sudden, the log moves, and here it's like one of those giant walking sticks that you see, in real life. And he panics, starts shooting at it. And then it stares at him for a minute as if it's going to attack, and then it just walks away. Turns around, turns tail, and walks away.
Like,
And
Jesus,
look
you
like
sit on my face, and then you freaking sting me with your weird magic, man. I'm out of here. Screw this shit.
Yeah. Well, he was kind of out of there because there was something else there too.
Yeah.
And that's when Chapman looks around, and boom, there's this skull crawler, and it just
and then a huge
eats him.
splash of blood.
Yeah, and just grabs him, and
And-
off-screen death, but still.
Mm.
You know,
After that, wasn't there a scene with a giant spider?
yeah,
Yes, the
Yes.
the lion and the thorn.
yeah, Lion and
Or the
Thorn.
lion
Yes,
and
I
the mouse
love
and the
that.
thorn. And he's like, yeah, you do know, or he's like, my mom told me it. Or no, that's after. He's like, you do know that the lion befriends the mouse, right? No, it doesn't. The mouse kills the lion with the thorn. Now, who told you that story? My mother. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Then what's his name gets looks up and he's like, oh,
And then just freaking speared choke, I guess. I don't know.
he had
No.
he had something that he couldn't take. Let's just
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
Mhm.
It's the
So-
Kamunga scene, if you know your
Yeah.
monsters.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
A young
And-
one too, if I remember right, because
Yeah.
there was ones
Yeah.
that get bigger.
Yeah, and then as it captured the what's his last name?
Mills.
Mills. As it captured Mills, and they're all like shooting at it, but then they're like, cut the leg. He's like, cut the legs, cut the legs.
Mhm.
And that was a great scene too.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they actually portrayed, saying, especially with the insects, is that they're almost both flora and fauna with the
Mhm.
insects on Skull Island, because its legs look like bamboo shoots.
Oh, yeah.
So it was actually on purpose. They wanted to portray that these things had like the symbiosis on this island was like unique in that like both flora and fauna were
Mhm.
almost like melded together.
Mhm.
And so, they cut the legs, drops Mills, and then it's like on the ground, and Packard just comes up with his pistol and just shoots it right in the head.
Mhm.
And just his eyes, like just
Mm.
Packard's eyes is just
Like a doll's eyes.
he just he is now. It feels more like this is Packard's natural habitat
Mm,
to
it
me.
does.
It's the kill or be killed mentality he has, and it always feels like this is where he wants to be at the same
Mhm.
time. So I mean that's what I get from Packard's character at for as
Yeah.
much, because as we later on find out, he doesn't want to leave. He wants to kill Kong if anything else. So that right there shows that if he's willing to stay on this island full of all these creatures, and essentially abandons any humanity he has. I mean, he's dead set on it.
He also played sniper with that bird and was like, huh, what an ugly ass bird.
Yeah.
Pulls his head off and then friggin' all the rest to be flying around.
Yeah,
Plays later because
it does play later.
Mm-hmm.
And while the rest of them are then back with with Marlon and Brie Larson and Loki over there.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he starts shaving and he shows them the boat.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like,
the boat.
The boat.
I have tetanus.
The boat.
Yeah,
And he's like,
and
he starts shaving with the short knife
yeah,
that was the Japanese soldiers.
yeah,
And he's like, I can't feel my face. Am I talking right now? Yeah, you're talking. I'm gonna stab you in the throat tonight. And he's like,
It's like,
"I don't know
what?
I'm talking about. He's just fucking with them in such a freaking hilarious way.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh
great.
my god, man! I
Mm.
just love that. I'm gonna choke you to death tonight.
He's like, what? No, I'm just
yeah.
am I? What
kidding.
day is it? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's very interesting. And one of the things that Marlowe says, and he talks about the Japanese pilot that he was fighting with, and he was literally saying how you take away the uniform, you take away all that stuff, and he was like his brother because they had to watch out for each other while they were there. And a great scene, that he has, and you can tell he learned a lot from the Japanese soldier that he was with, you know, about like culture and stuff like that. See, this is where I was actually wondering if Godzilla would show up for a brief scene, saying, "Oh, he had a name for that thing." You know, they call him Gojira. That's what I thought it was going to lead into at some point,
Yeah,
but it didn't. No, because it's like that kind of thing. But
Japanese soldier's name was Gunpei.
Gunpei.
Yep.
That doesn't even sound Japanese, though.
Gunpei Akari.
Well,
Okay, Akari. A bit more,
wouldn't it, since this isn't Viet? Oh wait, no, this is World War
no,
II. Never mind.
World War II.
Yeah.
Gunpei doesn't sound. That sounds more Chinese than Japanese, except for the last name. But
Right.
Maybe he was half and half.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, maybe that's true. Well, let's think here. Yeah.
Stop being racist and let's move on.
There is a difference between. Never mind. I'm not going to. I'm not going to go into it. I refuse. Technically, I could be one of those guys. Technically, well.
No. You got to go. Technically.
Yeah. It's like the Austin Powers joke where they're like, "Run, it's Godzilla," and it's like, "No, due to international copyright, it's not Godzilla." But so we actually get a beautiful shot at night there, where you see like essentially like the aurora on Skull Island, and you see Kong looking up, and it's a great shot. It seemed very peaceful. Despite all the other dozens that inhabit Skull Island, it seems like a very peaceful and very very calming shot of him looking up into the stars.
Very beautiful too.
Yeah, really beautiful. And again, this movie has some really great movements. Yeah, really great.
Yeah,
movements.
we need a female King Kong, if anything.
Already had one.
Yeah,
King Kong lives. Yeah, King Kong lives. There was a female Kong.
No, I'm talking about in this scene, especially in the starry scene,
Yeah, well,
Well, yeah,
maybe.
too. He's just a child, so.
Yeah, he's juvenile in this one.
Yeah.
And so now, as they're venturing out, so they finally fixed the boat. He finally gets it to work. Yeah. And you can tell it's a mishmash of airplane, boat, and all whatever they could salvage from the airplanes and the boats.
And that boat too, where they entered.
Yeah, that one too.
It's a floating piece of hepatitis.
Yeah,
basically much. Yeah.
You had your shots.
Yeah.
And as they're fixing the boat, Brie Larson, she's taking pictures, and she hears a noise. She goes outside past the gate, and she sees one of the helicopters on top of the water buffalo, giant water buffalo. And she's trying to move it, and it's like, lady, you're not going to move that. And it's like, why would you even try? Not Captain Marvel.
She's going to summon that Captain Marvel train.
Yeah,
that was before she was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I know. We had a whole conversation about it. Trust me. And then we see Kong. She's given up, and then all of a sudden the plane lifts. She looks up, and Kong has taken it off the water buffalo. He just drops it.
He's looking down at her. He's like, "You were gonna try to save this thing. That's the only reason why I'm letting you live."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yo,
Are you woman kind? Kind to buffalo, Kong kind to woman.
Exactly.
He does have a thing for blondes, so you know.
Yeah. Sadly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably have
So-
a thing for geeky.
But I'm not a blonde.
Yeah, but you're a lot more colorful in other ways too.
Yeah, but
Okay.
in King Kong versus Godzilla, it was a Japanese woman, so you know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 blondes were kind of scarce around there, so you know,
Yeah.
just saying. But anyway, so we get that scene, and then we get where the plane. I'm sorry, the boat, which is part plane, part boat.
You mean the
You know,
moat?
Yeah, the hepatitis.
There you go. We'll call it
Yep,
hepatitis.
there we go.
Hepatitis. That's what we're going to
Wait a
call
minute,
it.
shouldn't it be hepatitis C or something? Or
It
Tetanus.
covers the
Yeah,
whole spectrum of
It's
the
like
alphabet with
tetanus.
hepatitis.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay,
cover the whole spectrum.
okay.
And you know, Morrow, you know, essentially, I was like he feels bad for leaving the Iwis, and it's kind of like a great moment because that's pretty much the home he's had for the last almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So, it's a good scene, and then they don't say anything. They don't even
Yeah.
smile or anything.
They
like
just
that.
go like
They just stare, kind of. Yeah, they do a slight bow, and then they're on their way on the river there. And
Look me up if you're ever in Chicago.
yeah.
Brie Larson. Don't forget about me.
Oh, jeez.
I'll come back.
Yeah.
I have created a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you really did this time, man. I knew this was going to be a thing anyway, so I was kind of prepared for it. Anyway, so as they're going down or upstream, I'm not really even sure how it is. Then we get the one guy. They're trying to get the radio working, and they finally get the radio working because they're in range of Packard. Packard shoots off a flare, and the Ortiz's character is like, "Hey, there's the flare," and he's at the edge of the boat there, and all of a sudden, one of those flying birds, picks him up and carries him, and you see it against the backdrop of the sunset, and
they
that
do
one
zoom in.
Yeah, they
get
get ready to rescue him. They realize he's too far.
Yeah, and that bird just swoops down and just cuts off his arm. It's like, wow. It's like
they showed it.
Yep, they showed it.
It's like, if I could ask him, it's like, how did it feel when your arm got sliced off and then your leg? And I mean, did it feel like a Riddick moment?
So then they finally meet up, group back up with Packard and his men and Rando. Now, as they're walking, and I forgot to mention this, as they're walking, meeting up with Packard's men, this is when Brooks was talking about his Hollow Earth theory. So essentially, while he was in school, he was arguing that that the world is filled with these underground chasms and like where life can still flourish and stuff like that. And everyone laughed at him as that was his thesis paper, except for Randa. And that's when he got recruited by Monarch, because he had the theory that these creatures had gone underground when conditions weren't right for them to surface, but then when conditions are right, then they can resurface at will. So, and that plays a big part in King of the Monsters, and then later in as we saw in the trailer, Kong Skull Godzilla vs. Kong. So that's good. That's the one thing I am looking forward to, is seeing what the whole Earth is like, even though
Mm.
Mhm.
we might have seen half of it by now, but just the
Mm.
trailers. So he's talking about that, and then they meet up with um, Packard's men, and what I love is Morrow gets to interact with them, and he's like, a bunch of great boys. We're all gonna die here. And he's just laughing about it. It's like,
Mm.
yeesh.
I'm gonna like dying with you boys. You shouldn't have come here. We're all
Yeah,
gangsters.
Oh, goodbye.
East,
Uh,
East is best, West is worse.
yeah,
Southwest, we can kind of talk about,
yeah, yeah. But as we know, what they're going to is pretty much the feeding ground of the Skullcrawlers.
The communal
Yeah.
graveyard.
Yep,
Yep.
a huge
Kong's
graveyard.
parents.
Kong's parents' graves.
Triceratops skull. A bunch of things.
Mass graveyard.
Yep. But essentially, also, the fumes in that place are highly explosive. As one of the guys with a cigarette throws it and just boom, and then Randa's like, "Watch those fumes, idiots!" And he's taking all these pictures and this stuff, and you're starting to hear stuff, and that's when they're like pull out the 50 cal and put it on the Triceratops skull, which is pretty cool.
Mm.
That was cool. They had the
It was.
they had
Didn't
it mounted
do
right
squat.
there.
Even
It doesn't do
point
squat.
blank, it
That was
didn't
pretty
do
darn
squat.
cool having mounted 50 cal on a
Triceratops.
Triceratops skull. That was
a
cool.
lot of cool shots in this movie. We've already talked
Yeah,
about like
that-
the
Yeah.
360.
That was a
and
cool
stuff.
shot.
There was a
so
lot.
many cool shots.
Completely
Mhm.
ineffective, but a very cool shot.
Yeah.
To go back for 1 second,
Okay.
the scene where they all met up, it's like, we need to find we need to find Chapman. I'm not leaving him here. He's like, fine, you'll find him that way. Because this started to really show the deterioration of Packard, because he
Yeah,
started
it did.
pulling he pointed his gun at Weaver, he pointed his gun at Marlowe and whatnot. And he's like, he's like, you're gonna find him 3 clicks up that hill. And he's like, but here's the thing. We all stay together until we find Chapman. If we if we meet up with Chapman, then we can go to the LZ site. He agrees to that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then when the Skullcrawlers show up and spit up the remains of Chapman, and then you see the other one that's flashing a lot because it ate Randa.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah,
it's
you
on
could
Earth.
actually see how quick they could maneuver in
Yeah.
there too.
I like
Yep.
how that you talked about that kind of the reasoning, the fast metabolism of the skull crawlers.
Yeah.
Because that was
Yeah.
something like when I first saw this movie, I was like, holy crud, these things are fast. They're like, they don't give a crap. Like people are putting a bunch of bullets in these things. They don't even care. And that's just, I think,
Yeah.
honestly, Skullcrawler, one of my favorite monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Like original monster-ish.
Yeah.
I know it's based off of that one creature from the 1933, but
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But and ironically, the Skullcrawlers in the Monsterverse are actually small.
Yeah.
They're actually,
Yeah.
I think they're in a constant state of starvation, and they eat anything smaller than they are. But at the same time, when you look at the full picture, it's like, yeah, they're actually insignificant to a lot of the other kaiju. It's like, yeah, they're pests. Yeah, they're pretty much.
It's like the whole power scaling. I love.
Yeah,
It's like little baby, little baby Skullcrawler. There's no joke. Like it takes a little more than it takes a lot. It takes a significant amount.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I'm
Yeah,
saying baby.
Yeah, like it's kind of cute. That's the one thing that I always appreciate about the Godzilla movies and even the Monsterverse, it just shows how insignificant humanity is to these things. Like we're not even on the scale, the Richter scale for them. We're an annoyance or whatever for many
Or
of them.
Or
ants.
appetizers.
Yeah.
Or ant,
Well, not even
basically.
appetizers. Jeez.
Well,
mean-
troll callers,
Tic
yeah.
Tac.
Yeah.
Yeah, for skullcrawlers, yeah, we're appetizers, but
Right.
To everyone else, we're just ants.
yeah, we're just something. Well, then there's Ghidorah that chars everything and then licks the remains. It's like, ooh,
He disintegrates things and then
Yeah,
licks
he
whatever's
just-
left over.
Yeah.
yeah. Kevin decides to.
Kevin.
It's like, oh,
Like-
let's try this.
It's like,
Never had charged human before.
Wait, we'll get into that in the next one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
so-
really.
I got a lot to talk about Kevin on that one.
Oh yeah, we all do.
But
Mhm.
but back to this one, it's like
Yeah,
after everything is said and done, because they actually do finally get out of there, it's like we still got to meet up with Slivko. I'm sorry, sir, but Slivko's dead, and he holds up the
Dog tags.
dog tags that were connected to Slivko's or to Chapman's skull, rather. Chapman is dead.
yeah.
And what does he say? Doesn't change a thing. It's like,
Nope.
Yeah.
motherfucker, you just agreed to let everybody go to DLZ.
Mm.
Yep. Then you find his real motivation, why he
Yeah.
wants to get there, and
He
that's
wants-
because it has the napalm.
And the
napalm
weapons.
and the weapons to kill
Yes.
enough to kill that thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, Kong's the only thing keeping those things in the ground.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep, and that's when you see the conflict and
Yeah,
know.
everybody's just it's
Yeah.
it's like, no, you know what? Fuck it, leave him to die, man. We're getting the hell out of here.
yep,
Mm.
I ain't gonna sit at the kids' table
Yep.
or let
Mhm.
stupid little scientist. I'm not a pussy. It's like,
yeah,
dude,
Mhm.
you are a pussy. You're a pussy with
Yeah,
a gun.
You're following
Yeah,
the crowd,
exactly.
man.
yeah, exactly. And what I love too, later on when they come across the the crashed helicopter
Mhm.
and they're pulling out, like they're starting to take stock of what there is. That speaker is still playing music, but it's so
Oh yeah.
distorted, and then it shows Packard, and it shows how distorted his view has become. I think it's a very good representation of that.
Yeah.
It starts out, the music is clear, and then it just distorts over
Mhm.
time, and then now it's like completely. He has no rationality to him. It's for him, it's one goal, and that is to eliminate Kong.
Yep.
For the men that died.
Mhm.
And a great scene. And then it shows the scene where they're getting ready with the napalm. They're putting it in the water and setting traps all around. Then you get back to the main group: Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson.
They're going up for a high ground look.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Marlowe's like, ants, man. Got to keep an eye out for the ants.
Yeah.
They're big as cats. Look, there's one right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my, he's just freaking out the nerds.
Mm.
yeah. Well, that's a reference to the movie Them, also by Warner Brothers.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh really?
Them, the movie about giant ants. It was done by Warner Brothers back in the 1950s. Yeah, so that was what he was referring to, because even the sounds that sound like birds, that's what the sound effect was for those ants.
Huh.
That's nice.
So yeah, because everyone was
Nice.
saying, because a lot of people were saying, what if they bring back the older Warner Brothers properties? Beast from 20,000 Phantoms was one by Warner Brothers, and also Them. So it's like almost like, ooh, let's see them bring those back.
Like that.
That'd be cool. But that was a little homage to the movie Them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. And as they're getting Brie Larson and Tom Hiddleston are climbing the cliff there, and then you get to see Kong. What I like is you see the silhouette, and then you see the gleam in the eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a great shot as he come through almost like the mist, like he's a ghost.
Mm.
And of course, they have that moment where they touch.
Where
Yeah,
she gets
They did a really good job, like expressing Kong too on the CG,
Yeah.
at least on that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep. And she actually gives a little smile, and it's like,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
literally the last real emotion you see out of Brie Larson.
Mhm.
The
And
life
it's like,
just gets sucked
really?
from her after that.
Yeah.
Well, so you have that great moment, and then you hear the explosion,
And then you
and
see
Kong roars
like, God damn
Yeah.
it! I
Yeah.
got the score!
again.
God damn it!
Oh, oh,
It's,
come
I'm
on, don't
sorry.
get that
Freaking
in
doing
your head.
explosions
Don't,
over
don't
at
do that.
my house.
It's like, didn't you guys not learn your lessons? Well, if I have to teach you another one, fine.
Yeah, and this where you know, Packard, it's just all intensity in this moment, and you see Kong come up, and then he does the trademark pounding his chest.
Mhm.
Great scene over the moonlight there in the background too, and he goes into the water, and that's when Packard throws throws the torch, and poof, fire like everywhere, and Kong's trying to put it out with the water, but again, napalm doesn't expel with water.
Right.
And then you almost see it. You can't see Kong for a bit. You think he fell.
He gets
Then he
engulfed by
rises
the
back
flames.
up. What I loved is when he rose back up, he actually shoots the water in the flame over to the soldiers, and they light on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, here's how this feels. Have fun. And he kind of has that moment where he has like that adrenaline, and then all of a sudden he just falls.
Oh, don't forget he stomps the scientist too.
Oh yeah, that guy. Well, he was
Yeah.
insignificant anyway.
That
So
poor
Yeah.
scientist, man. It's like, you just wanted to be one of the big boys, but the biggest boy kind of just needed to knock you back down a few pegs.
Yeah.
He just pretty much boom, stomp. But then Kong just falls. Now this is the big thing here, and this is one of the things that a lot of people were saying. It's like, we know Kong's a juvenile, but at the same time, it's like fire hurts him. It's like, how's he going to fight against Godzilla? It's like,
well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
He's going to grow. His body mass is going to grow. His body density also happens to grow. And one thing you learn about fully grown titans, like Behemoth and what's its name? The one with the tusks. I think that one was Behemoth.
I think that one was Anguirus.
That is Behemoth.
No, the one with the tusks was not Anguirus.
Oh,
you see his skeleton. But anyway, the one, Behemoth is the sloth.
The mammoth-looking one, right?
The mammoth-looking tusk with the sloth. Yeah, but anyway, he's completely impervious to fire.
Yeah.
So the thing is, Kong might actually be susceptible to fire at this point.
Yeah.
That's not going to that might not be the case later on.
That's true.
He might be more resistant.
Not to mention he gets an axe too from the
We'll
Godzilla
get to that.
scale.
We'll get to that when that time comes down.
Yeah.
But one of the and then Packard's ready to blow Kong up, and I love this scene coming up. Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, they come. They're trying to stop Packard.
Yep,
and
she's like, boys nicely.
And then I love it. She goes, the world is bigger than this, and then he's like, "Bitch, please."
I love that.
That was the best.
That was
Why?
the best scene.
Bitch, please.
He's like,
that was the best.
Put down a giant ass gorilla, and we're gonna blow its head open.
Yeah.
Okay. You can talk.
Yeah. You're telling me the world's bigger? Bitch, please.
Well, I like how he talks about this, though. He even says, we do the dirty work.
Yeah.
People should not even know he exists. This exists. Essentially. and you can tell like it's kind of funny because he kind of predicts about what happens when the world realizes that there are giant creatures
Right.
that are inhabit the earth, and it is that, and we'll get into that in the next movie, but like he kind of actually has a point, where he's like, no, nobody needs to know this exists. We do the dirty work so they don't have to,
Right.
that kind of thing. And I love how like they're having to stand off with, and then Morrow comes in with the sword too.
And
It's
a pistol.
like, yeah, and a pistol, and it's just like all this tension,
Mm.
and then the guy they've been with turns on Packard and says, and you can tell Packard's like ready to like kill him right where he stands.
Yeah, the
But
one that
that's
turns on it, he's about to pull the gun. He's like, Packard!
Yeah.
It's like it's like he's no longer in control, so he's going to waste every one of them. But,
yeah, exactly.
Well, then the water kind of goes into it.
Then
I just love the entrance to the big one because it just jumps right out of the water and lands. It's like, yeah, that's like pure out of a video game kind of thing.
Yeah, but I love that, and it's like that wormhole under the water, kind of like how Godzilla shoots up in different places, and it's that same concept. It's like they're in these Hollow Earth. There's these essential wormholes that just shoot you back up into the surface, and he just jumps up and then slams back in the water. And you can tell this one's a bit like, this one actually has a lot more weight to him too. Like you can tell, like he survived for who God knows how long, especially how big he is. He doesn't look as skinny as the others do. You can tell he's built. Huh?
He's a nice plump one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not to mention his head actually looks like a skull too.
Oh, he looked pretty much. He looked like the rest of them. It's just that he.
I know, but I mean, you could see the skull being more defined or something.
Yeah.
Thing compared to the younger ones.
Yeah, a lot of people actually think that these things don't have eyes, but because
they're very small. They're very small.
The eyes are actually in back of these skull slots.
Yeah. Hence why they're called skull crawlers, because their heads look more like the skull and less tissue around it. There's not that much tissue around it.
They're skulls and they crawl. They're skull crawlers. There you go.
Yep.
They also sound like parasites that get into your brain, but yeah.
That's a story for another time.
Yeah. And then we get the scene where they're like all retreating. They're like, Packard, and he's just like staring at it, like with the switch.
Yeah, like there's another one.
Yeah. Kong wakes up. He's like, die, motherfucker. And he just crushes him with his fist. It's great.
Bitch.
And then Kong's in a weakened state, and the Skullcrawler obviously overpowers him in a brief scene.
Yeah.
And then we get, more, obviously, the transitions to more a daylight scene. So clearly some hours have passed as they're running.
Scene.
Yeah, as they're running. Then we get the great scene, the great sacrifice scene. Well, sort of.
Sort of,
where he's like, go live your life. And he takes out his grenades, and he's like holding them up, and he wants them to eat them, so they blow up from inside. Instead, he just tail whips them.
Yeah, the freaking Skullcrawler's like, man, what
no, bitch, I'm too smart for that.
You look suspect. I ain't eating you.
Yeah, exactly.
Cole had an M1.
Yeah.
He had a grenade launcher, full fucking thing around his waist full of grenades, and it's like, why did you not use that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is one of the biggest gripes that I had with that. It's like,
I did notice that too, and I was questioning that too.
why didn't you go T2 on this motherfucker?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Really?
Why? It's like, you are terminated.
Mhm.
I think in that's another thing that I appreciate about with the Monsterverse is that it shows, especially the older Titans are very intelligent too.
Yes.
Yeah.
They know
Mhm.
they can sense when something's not right. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
this guy's not
Mhm.
running from me. Something's not right. You know,
It's
like
you're
here, I'll
standing
just
up to me
Yeah.
and you're very small. Why?
And why are you
No,
holding
not
your
taking
arms
it.
up like this?
yeah, and that really shows.
Mm.
And so, as they're running through like that marsh there. You see like wrecked ships and stuff too, and then you see their boat with the um, World War II plane machine
Machine
guns.
guns.
Yeah,
Mhm.
essentially, Brooks is firing away, and it's just not really doing it. It's annoying the skull crawlers, but it's
Yeah.
not really penetrating anything. It's just annoying them enough to like,
Sorry.
say like, hey, that tickles. Stop it.
Okay, that's annoying. Okay. What?
Stop
Hey,
it.
hey, knock it off.
Yeah, pretty
And then
much.
Kong comes in with a freaking rock, and it's like,
Yeah.
Mm.
motherfucker! Boom! And then you get the ultimate badass shot where Kong's like, I ain't running from you. You killed my mommy and daddy, and I'm gonna take my sword. Rips out the tree,
Yeah.
and then just skins the freaking tree, man.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest things I had ever seen
Yeah.
in a monster movie. It's like,
Yeah.
I
dude,
agree with that.
he just created the ultimate baseball bat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's like, swing it for the
Last time he had a tree, he stuffed it down Godzilla's throat. So,
Yeah.
eat your
And
vegetables.
it's
Mm.
like, yeah, exactly, man. I'm sorry, small segue. Chris Rock in a blooper from Lethal Weapon 4, where he actually literally says that to a bunch of patrons in a Chinese restaurant. Eat your vegetables! Like, dude, yes, that bit. I mean, it's somebody
Yeah.
should take the audio from that and superimpose
Yes.
it to that scene. It's like, eat your vegetables, crack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene right there with Kong making the essentially bat, it's just like nice. I was like, damn. That was a great shot too.
I mean, the
Mm.
role reversals in this one where Kong has the upper hand, then the big one has the upper hand, then Kong has the upper hand, then the big
Yeah.
one has the upper hand.
Mm.
It really gave you a sense that this is a fight that can be invested in, and you don't
Yes.
know the outcome. You
No.
honestly, when
Yeah.
you are that invested, you
Yeah.
don't know who's going to win.
Exactly.
Mm.
He gets chained up, and the big one's like, I could kill you right now, but that would
Yeah.
just be too easy. So you
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna snack on a few morsels, and then I'm gonna come back and snap your damn neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Kong has what's known as a rage, or he actually
Yeah.
has what's known as the rage buff,
Mm.
where if he gets angry enough, kind of like the Hulk,
Yeah.
he can do some marvelous things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he gets a fishing reel that's known as a boat propeller.
Yeah.
He's like,
Mm.
I'm gonna go fishing. Let's see if I can catch a skull crawler.
I
Get
swear to
over
God, when he
here.
like does that whole scene
Yeah.
with the chain, I felt like it was like Beyblade, let it rip.
That reminds me of kind of like God of War there.
Oh, right, yeah.
So many,
Good.
so many different
Mm.
ones you can pull from.
You
Yeah.
can go scorpion,
Yeah.
you can go let it rip, you can go
Get
God of War.
over here.
Yeah.
I'm warming up to that new one that they got for the
Yeah.
new Mortal Kombat, but also the new Scorpions Get Over Here with Hiroyuki Sanada saying it.
Yeah. Now, the one cool thing is too when the Skullcrawler has Kong in chains there, that's like a good, reference to the original, how he
Yeah.
gets put in
That's what I
chains.
thought
I
too.
mean, the difference is in this one, he uses those chains to his advantage.
Right.
Yes.
These chains are made of chrome steel. From
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chrome.
It's like chrome steel. That shit is so malleable. It ain't funny.
Yeah. Yeah, really. But I love how he uses the propeller as a weapon. It just he
Yeah.
like
Mm,
bonks him
yeah.
on the head and then slashes him. It's just great. I mean, it's a great scene, and you can tell one cool thing about Kong is you can really articulate him much like how a human could, because with
Yeah.
apes being as close as they are to humans, you have a lot of free reign, that still feels very much like it could be a possibility and very plausible. So that's why I like how he uses tools, because as we know, real apes do, but also he is more intelligent than an average ape too.
Yeah.
Everybody says that the apes are the missing link. Well, Kong is the ultimate link.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. And get toward the end there. Yeah, Brie Larson, she fires that flare at the
Taking
skull
out
car.
one of the eyes, yeah.
Yeah, one of the eyes. And he's like scratching to try to get it out. That was a great touch too.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like,
He's
and
like,
then he like swings around.
Mhm. He's
He
like,
swings
screw
around.
those other people. I'm going for
Yeah.
you.
He swings around, and it makes the cliff she was on unstable, and then she falls into the water. And then we get this great shot of Kong, scooping her out of the water.
Mm.
Yep.
And what's
And
kind of funny,
he
we have that.
he like
We have that.
slices his throat.
Yeah, he
too.
slices the throat of the skull crawler, and we get that brief moment of like, you think it's over, he's going to save her.
Mm.
But what's great then is the skull crawler comes around him
Mm.
and clamps on his bites
Arm.
down on his
Arm.
arm, trying to eat Brie Larson in his hand.
Yeah.
And as this is going on, he's doing this tug of war. And what's
Mm.
so great is when he pulls out, he pulls everything out.
Whole freaking tongue,
The
plus
tongue, the
diaphragm.
innards.
It's like
Yeah, everything connected.
fatality.
Yeah, that was a great fatality too. It's like, whoa, jeez,
Kong
turned them
wins.
inside out.
Fatality, brutality, animality.
Yeah,
All alities except for
Yeah.
friendship.
yeah, friendship.
Except for friendship.
Yeah, that's gonna be the end of Godzilla versus Kong. Friendship.
Yep. Friendship. Friendship.
No, more like probably mutual understanding, and then
Yeah.
Probably.
Who knows?
But then I mean, freaking Kong then rescues her. He's like, "You okay? You okay? Okay, I'm gonna sit you down now, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
roll away like a badass because you're not my type, bitch."
Yeah, right.
It's like, yeah,
And
let your little demigod buddy over there freaking take you. I don't,
yeah, yeah,
I don't know why I saved you, but because you got resting bitch face. I don't like you.
oh, jeez, guys.
I'm gonna milk that all night if I have to.
I know. So
That cow's not dry yet.
yeah. Oh, jeez. And so after the big fight scene, Tom Hiddleston goes to Brie Larson. She wakes out of it, and then Marvel. What I liked, Marvel started singing that song as they're making their way to the ocean. That we'll meet again.
Yeah.
And it's such a good song to use because again, this was done. He only knows music from his time, and so it was a great little touch. As he's wanting to see his wife again, and he knows he has a son out there too.
Yep.
And what's cool is then you get another shot of Kong. He does the whole
Pounding
chest
the chest.
beating,
Pound.
and then you see it through his eye, like it goes right into his eye, like with that glow.
And it's like
And it's
basically saying, "Don't come back here again."
yeah, Yeah, pretty much.
Mm.
And then we get this like real footage of Marlowe coming back.
I
home.
like that.
And his son.
Yeah, and that was a very good touch.
I cried.
That was a very good touch. And
I'm
you
a
know what's
guy.
kind of
I cried.
you know what's funny? The guy who plays his son also played the younger version of him.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Just a different hairstyle.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yep.
And
Like
no
the
mutton
same-
chops too.
Yeah.
Yeah, those mutton chops.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously? And I
Yeah.
love it because then she's coming in with shakes and she just drops the shakes. man.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it is such a beautiful shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about
Finally
it. How long he's been gone.
He finally got his hot dog and a cold beer.
Yeah.
mhm.
And his opening game
Chicago
too.
Cubs. Yeah. When
I can't believe it. I'm tearing up just freaking thinking about that scene,
Yeah, it's a
man.
great. It is.
Literally
It's a great.
tearing up.
It's a great scene. It really is, and it's heartfelt.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then you get the main credits, but then you get the post-credit scene.
Yep.
And this is the one the Godzilla fans.
I kind of
Yeah.
like that as like
Love.
you guys staring in the dark.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
fine. We won't. I promise not to tell the Russians. I will tell the Russians.
Russian.
Yeah.
It's like
Bitch. And then
Yeah.
like,
she wanted to
there
go back to
was
her
no
wee
island.
people.
Yes, there was. What island? So, Brooks, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Welcome to Monarch. So
Yep.
You're supposed to know what that is.
Yeah, there were creatures in this world long before us.
Kong's
Yeah.
not the only king.
Yeah.
If we
Then
don't
you get.
not careful, they'll take it back. He's
Yep.
mirroring Randa, except
Yeah.
he's positive Monarch, not
Yeah.
negative Monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when you see it. You see Mothra,
Mhm.
Godzilla.
Godzilla, Ghidorah.
Yeah. And then that final shot.
Yeah, and then you see battle all out monsters for the king. And then you hear
Yeah.
you hear
Godzilla's-
Godzilla and it's like,
Yep.
oh boy.
Yep.
hmm
That's what really affected me too. Hearing the ending Godzilla roar in a Kong movie, it's like, yep, we're going for it.
Yep.
And
We know
so
this is connected now.
yeah, and so overall, this movie. So overall, I'll give you my two ratings. So objectively speaking, like I've said earlier, this was one of the best of the Monsterverse. The pacing's great. The cinematography's great. They did an amazing job with the characters, the acting. Kong looks great. The skull colors were great. Like everything in this movie really was able to shine. So I really gave this a 9 out of 10, a solid 9 out of 10 objectively. Subjectively speaking, this movie is also a very high rating. I've never really been that big of a Kong fan, but this movie really did establish a very good version of King Kong. So I would give this subjectively another 9 out of 10. The only thing it really loses points for, like I said, there was a couple issues that had to deal with certain characters and certain plot points that I thought were going somewhere and nothing happened. But that's really minor things than anything else. Manga, what did you think? What was your rating of this?
Well, let's see. So objectively, like I was saying, I think you have some of the best stuff there. Some of the best
Mhm.
monster fights. You see
Yeah.
these monsters in such beautiful detail,
Mhm.
from the cuts on Kong's hand to the skull crawlers, the textures on them. So objectively, I'd probably put it around an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
Subjectively, for me, this was a bit of a initially watching this movie
Mhm.
was a little bit I wasn't too glad when I first watched this movie because I was expecting more of a serious kind of a movie in the vein of Godzilla 2014. And there's a lot of
Right.
like dark kind of ironic humor in this, and I was like, oh, okay. And then
Yeah,
over
they're
the
like that.
years, of course, on repeat viewing, I've warmed up to it.
Right.
I put it maybe just slightly lower, around a 7 or an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Fade?
For me, for both scores, it would probably be 8 out of 10. And I'm kind of with Mongo on this. On the beginning of the movie, it felt more like a Vietnam movie, if anything. And
Yeah,
then
the director would probably agree with you on that one.
But other than that, after that, the pacing's really good. I loved the monster. I loved Kong in this being so expressive and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him too. So
Yeah, exactly. Geeky?
I love this movie. It was my favorite one of all the Kongs. Better than that Percy Peter Jackson one or whatever.
Oh,
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
Percy Jackson and the King Kong.
Yeah, well, Percy
We're
Jackson.
we finally see gods
watched that
versus
movie.
gods.
Yeah. Well,
for me,
Oh.
yeah.
Or orange.
let's see here. Objectively, I would put it around a solid 9 out of 10. You're right.
Mhm.
There are some issues. A couple of things that didn't go anywhere. It's like, so is Brooks and the Asian girl gonna hook up or not?
Yeah, that was what
Yeah.
I was wondering too.
And then it's like, come on, just kiss already. But
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. But also, there was a couple CGI moments that could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, there are flaws in this movie. There are
Right.
flaws. Plus, the Brie Larson's resting bitch face. But anyway,
Oh, what about her terrified face? Have you guys seen that?
Oh, yeah.
no, it's like
Freeze frame. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, when she was the most emotive when she was on the helicopters, when she was actually
Yeah.
like, woo! And it's like, why couldn't she just fall out right there, please? But other than that, subjectively, I'd put this at a 9.5, damn near perfect. But
Yeah.
my 3-tier moviegoer, I'll actually give it a 10 out of 10. It's thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cinematic.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and like I said, it just very well done all over. And like you said, Fade, about it being a Vietnam movie, director Lloyd Roberts, he actually even said the slogan of the movie, we don't belong here, is actually an allegory for Vietnam. Yeah, he said that. He actually was talking a lot about Vietnam movie influences and stuff like that, and how he very much said that he wanted to almost be like a war picture, but just not with the Vietnamese, but with the fact that man versus nature is even more terrifying, because there's and when that stuff happens, nobody wins, and so that he would pretty much agree with you with the Vietnam being a Vietnam movie. Yeah, what'd you say, Gigi?
I said, "Oh, look, a polyrath."
Oh,
Yeah.
I like those. They're cool.
Yes.
Will we?
But
assassin and like, will we see a Doomcock cameo in the Godzilla vs Kong movie? He lives.
That would be funny.
Oh my gosh, man! Doomcock is. He's actually pretty controversial right now.
Why? Now what?
A lot of people are actually moving away from his stuff.
Why? But now I haven't really followed him, so
he's been covering the whole Kathleen Kennedy conspiracy thing, and
okay,
a lot of people are just not seeing it, and they're starting to question whether or not he's legit. Me, I still watch his stuff just for entertainment.
What's his take on it?
He thinks that Kathleen Kennedy is, or he he is all for the Civil War within Lucasfilm. He's
Mhm.
holding on to hope, a faint and fading hope that there is a Civil War, that she will get her comeuppance. I'm hoping she does too. For the most
It's
part, it
kind of
looks like
looking.
she's staying.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like Disney and Lucasfilms are kind of a lost cause at this point.
Yeah, I'll as we
Sorry,
break
sorry.
from this movie, it's fine. It's fine. We can just I gotta wrap it up here anyway, but then we can continue talking a bit
Mm.
for a bit longer. Um, but anyway, guys, thank you for joining us, Thomas, Jeremy Five, Rush Approved, Soul Assassin, Theme Park. You guys, thank you for joining us. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And thank you to my panelists, Manga's Big Thinks, Fade Salvation, Orange Hat Reviews, and Geeky Pixie.
Yep, no
Uh,
problem.
yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And then next Wednesday at 9 p.m. again, we're going to be talking about the third movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, this will be the final one because we're not going to talk about. I'm not going to do a stream right away with Godzilla vs Kong because I want enough people to watch it before we start
Right.
talking about it. So that probably won't be for another month at least. So next week will be the last of this.
Give it
Well,
The-
that will be my favorite movie, so I will
a
love.
week or two is the general spoilery. There's the general spoiler.
Week or two.
A week or two,
Yeah.
man. I wouldn't.
Okay,
go
well, how about 2 weeks then? I'll
Yeah.
plan on
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want enough people to see it, especially like I was saying earlier. For people who don't know, the release date for the U.S. got pushed back a week, but other places it didn't. So the week before, Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong comes to the U.S., a lot of other places are going to get it. So be watchful of spoilers when you get on the internet for for that week, because I guarantee you a lot will be said. But anyway, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up here. This is GFan84, also known as TJ. We appreciate you guys coming, and hope to see you next week, next Wednesday at 9. Do you guys have any plugins you want to say before we go?
Well, I got my Versus stream. I think Geeky's joining me for that one.
What one is
I'll
that?
try. I don't really know
That's,
much about those.
Was that the Blood Rain and the?
Yeah,
It's
Blood Rain.
it's Blood
The
Rain
vampire.
versus Celine.
Lane.
It's a
We
rhino
go
one.
we go over both characters in detail before we get it going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be
Dave, yeah.
Eastern Standard Friday night.
Oh, cool. All right. I'll try to watch that one. I'll have to see if I work.
Yep.
I caught a right on.
Yeah. Geeky, you have any plugins real quick?
I haven't really been making videos, but I am still working on my Final Fantasy Advent Children one with the Within Temptation song "Pale."
Oh, nice. Faye, do you have anything?
Tomorrow, as long as I actually get back to work on it, and not play Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's easy to get distracted.
Yeah. Well, I have a gaming channel, Fate Salvation, where I also talk about anime news and stuff like that, as well as whatever I'm
Okay.
generally interested in. So, if you guys want to
Cool.
check that out,
Licking tongue.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
so
We will.
Thank you.
But anyway, thank you guys again. And this is GFan84 signing off. And I hope everyone has a great week.
fading out.
Take care.
Yeah.